Hello. In this lesson, I want you to use the Pythagorean theorem, and I want you to use the converse of the Pythagorean theorem. Some vocabulary words you're going to come across are Pythagorean triple. Let's start off with just the review of what we did in the last lesson. Here I've got the altitude of a right triangle drawn in. I'm going to call the distance from A to D, I'll call that x. And I'll call the distance from B to D y. What we learned is in the last lesson, B is the geometric mean, so in other words, B squared, between the entire hypotenuse, which is C, and the part that's adjacent to it, which is x. And I could do the same thing for A. A is the geometric mean, so A squared between the entire hypotenuse, C, and the part that's adjacent to it, which is y. I'm going to add a squared and b squared together. So I'm going to say a squared plus b squared. Well, that's going to be cy plus cx. I'm just adding my two equations together. Notice there's a c in both my terms here, so I could factor the c out. So I'm going to say a squared plus b squared equals c times y plus x. Well, look at your diagram. Y plus x by the segment addition postulate, that's c, isn't it? So a squared plus b squared equals c times c, which a lot of times we'll say is c squared. This is one proof of the Pythagorean theorem. There are a bunch of proofs of the Pythagorean theorem. There's like 61 published different ways to prove this theorem. In fact, even the President of the United States, James Garfield, when he was a congressman, was having a debate in Congress, and he actually discovered using trapezium as a different way of showing the Pythagorean theorem, and he actually published that when he was a congressman. A lot of times you're going to see, instead of saying a squared plus b squared equals c squared, I'm going to write the hypotenuse squared equals the leg squared plus the leg squared. Because what you really need to do when you use the Pythagorean theorem is identify which one is the hypotenuse. So if we take a look at example 1, I want to find x. Notice x is the hypotenuse, isn't it? So I'm going to say c squared equals a squared plus b squared. My hypotenuse is x, so x squared equals 4 squared plus 7 squared. So x squared equals 16 plus 49. And then x squared equals 65, or x is the square root of 65. That's the exact answer. The exact answer for x is the square root of 65. We can approximate that by using our calculator. So if we take the square root of 65, you get 8.06 to the nearest hundredth. And that's all you would have to do.